The world once told me I was broke, yet heaven had already pronounced me abundant. They insisted I needed to grind, but the heavens replied that I needed to speak. They said, climb higher, sacrifice more, chase success. Yet the Spirit whispered gently, be still, declare my word, and I will bring it forth. I was not designed to serve what I see. I was born to rule what cannot be seen. And the same truth applies to you. You might think you came here to learn the secret to becoming a millionaire. But the truth is, you already are one in the unseen realm. You don't become what you say, you reveal what you've always been by giving voice to it. Every dollar, contract, idea, and divine setup already lives in the unseen vault of the Word. I never chased it. I never earned it. I spoke it. And it found me through grace in divine timing. When I affirm, I am a millionaire, I'm not describing a wish. I'm activating God's name within me. When God said to Moses, I am that I am, he wasn't speaking in riddles. He was making a legal decree in heaven's court. That phrase is the command that divides seas and opens vaults. Each time you say, I am, you aren't repeating wishful thoughts. You're stepping into your true divine identity, not the labels of the world, not the balance of your account, but what heaven has always called you. You are prosperous now, provided for now, supplied now, but your words must agree with heaven. I once lived like you, waiting, hesitating, afraid to claim good things for fear of disappointment. I thought faith was silent belief, but I discovered it as bold declaration. I believed wealth came from effort, but I found it flows from authority. I thought I was waiting on God, yet God was waiting on my decree. And when I finally spoke, not from fear or force, but from faith, everything shifted. Unexpected money arrived, debts disappeared, doors opened effortlessly. Why? Because I declared one thing. I am a millionaire by divine right, and my supply is here now. Scripture says, let the weak say, I am strong. Let the poor say, I am rich. Why? Because your mouth holds dominion. Your tongue is not a tool for description. It is the judge's gavel of heaven, commanding all creation to align. Your word is your wand. Point it toward lack, it dissolves. Point it toward debt, it vanishes. Speak over chaos, it transforms into divine order. Hear this with conviction, the wealth you long for is waiting for your command. It cannot move until you decree it. You were never meant to earn, you were meant to proclaim. The tongue within you is the throne from which you rule your world. Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established. That's not poetry, that's divine law. So say it boldly, not someday but now. I am a millionaire by divine law. The supply is mine, the wealth obeys my command, I speak it into form, and so it manifests. The moment you speak with authority, heaven echoes you. Poverty is not a circumstance, it's a confession. A spell repeated until the speaker forgets their own power. Words like, I can't, I don't have, and maybe later, build invisible prisons of limitation. People blame the system, their past, their job, but it's not the lack of money keeping them bound, it's the misuse of speech. The universe does not respond to need, it responds to the word. You were never made to live under the rule of digits or coins. You were crafted in the image of the Creator, whose first act was not to toil, but to speak, let there be light, and there was light. That same creative pattern belongs to you. Yet most speak from fear, not faith, from worry, not will. And so, they create delay instead of manifestation. Hear this deeply. Poverty is not your calling, nor your lesson, nor your divine test. It is a lie you can revoke. For the kingdom of God is not in paycheck or price tag, but in divine order, overflowing peace and abundant substance. But only for the one bold enough to claim it aloud. The world glorifies struggle as humility, but I come to free you from that illusion. Your true nature is opulence, your inheritance is wealth, your words are the golden keys. As long as you talk like a servant, you cannot live like a sovereign. If you keep speaking of delay, you'll never walk in divine timing. The phrases, I can't, I'm trying, and I don't know, are false prophecies that hold your miracles hostage. It's time to reclaim the temple of your tongue and dedicate it again to truth. And that truth is this: you are not poor, stuck small, or forgotten. You are not late or behind. You are not cursed or unworthy. You are a stream of divine supply. You are the voice of wealth in flesh. You are a vessel of God's abundance. You are a ruler who misplaced his crown, so put it back on. Stand tall. Speak your authority. Decree what heaven is waiting to repeat. Poverty is not real, it only exists through speech. Change your sentence, and you change your story. Say, I break every contract with lack. I erase every word of limitation. I am rich, sourced, and provided for by divine law. Say it as fact, not wish. The law will respond. Because words are never empty, silence is. The world teaches you to wait for signs, but true creation begins with speech. Wealth starts with a sentence, not an action plan. God didn't work first. He spoke first. So must you. The unseen obeys authority, not effort. Long before my first million arrived, it existed in the spirit because I declared it daily, not as hope but as law. I am a millionaire by divine right. I spoke not to convince heaven but to align with what heaven had already written. Each morning, instead of checking my balance or reciting worries, I issued decrees. I am abundance. I am supply. I am wealth in motion. When I remembered my mouth as God's instrument, I stopped describing what was and started declaring what must be. I said it in doubt, in faith, in stillness, in storm, until the word became law, and the unseen rearranged itself to match my speech. Understand this, your first million is already complete in the spirit, waiting for your voice to authorize its arrival. The universe doesn't respond to striving, it responds to law, and law moves by decree. Speak your reality and watch heaven's system obey. Every statement is a seed. It multiplies after its kind. Speak wealth, not worry. Speak with rhythm, with certainty, as if the throne itself listens. Because it does. Your word doesn't return void, it returns with results. So say it, my first million lives in my mouth. I decree it into motion. I legislate abundance by divine command. The moment you say this with authority, you stop chasing and start commanding. You stop waiting and start releasing. You stop describing and begin creating. For your word is not mere sound. It is structure. It is not affirmation. It is instruction. You were never meant to ask permission from reality. You were meant to instruct it. Heaven's law is clear. Speak as though you have it, and you will. Speak from unity with God, and creation must obey. The word of fear returns empty, but the word of faith returns full. Your voice is royal. Not emotional chatter, but divine legislation. When you realize your word is not opinion but law, you'll cease repeating limits and start authoring abundance. Say this with command, my word is law. My speech is wealth. My decree opens the treasury. My tongue governs creation. My wealth manifests as I speak. For the heavens do not answer wishers. They respond to rulers who speak. The moment you begin to declare your identity instead of describing your situation, delay dissolves. When you say what you are, not what you lack, the unseen aligns. I know this because I lived it. I once had little but one sentence, and I repeated it every day for 90 days. God is my unfailing supply. Great sums of money come to me quickly under grace in perfect ways. I spoke it calmly, not in desperation, but in dominion. I stopped explaining, stopped doubting, stopped questioning, and something holy happened. My atmosphere changed, my fears faded. Provision appeared through channels I never imagined. Checks came unrequested. Debts disappeared. Doors opened on their own. I saw that money had not been missing. It had been waiting for my permission. It was never about economy or timing. It was about my word. Once the contradiction ended, the flow began. Was it hard? No, it was sacred. Did it take time? It took faithfulness. For the law does not respond to emotion. It responds to speech. I said it when I lacked. I said it when I overflowed. I said it when nothing moved and when everything shifted. And that is how heaven trains a soul for wealth, not through struggle, but through sound. So take this sword, this sacred decree. God is my unfailing supply. Great sums of money come to me quickly, under grace, in perfect ways. Speak it daily. Guard it. Live it. Don't dig it up with doubt. Let it take root. And watch the invisible answer you in visible form. For your word is your wealth, and your voice is your vault. When you keep declaring it with persistence, clarity, and conviction, Your surroundings will eventually echo it back. Not because the world changed first, but because you did. You're not traveling toward wealth. You are the living form of abundance itself. Speak as such, move as such, exist as such. For I am is never a hope, it's a decree, and that decree is divine legislation. Understand this, beloved. No day is neutral. Each dawn stands on the edge of creation. Every sunrise awaits a command. Each hour listens. And every time you stay silent, the day starts speaking in your place, and its language is disorder, fear, delay, and limitation disguised as logic and realism. But you are not meant to awaken under the burden of circumstance or check the temperature of your feelings to determine your truth. You are not a mirror of your environment. You are the thermostat that defines it. Until you learn to issue a decree before the day unfolds, you'll keep dancing to the tune of appearances instead of setting the tempo through divine declaration. Heaven never waits for the earth to signal first. In the beginning, the Eternal said, "Let there be light." And only after the sound went forth did light appear. So it must be with you, for the design is everlasting. The command comes before the manifestation. The spoken word always precedes the visible supply. If you rise in silence, scrolling and sighing and recalling yesterday's lack, then your day shapes itself without your spirit's direction. But when you rise and speak, before your feet touch the ground, before your hands reach for tasks, before your mind plays old songs of doubt, when you affirm, "This is a day of divine provision. I walk in increase. Abundance meets me everywhere. God has gone before me and prepared paths unseen," then you don't just move through the day. You rule it. Speak before breakfast, before inboxes, before schedules, before traffic and bills and voices. Your first word each morning is not a small thing. It's architecture, blueprint, legislation from the courts of heaven. Heaven cannot construct what you have not voiced. Angels cannot act on what you haven't decreed. The treasury of heaven will not open until the vault of your mouth opens in faith and royal rhythm. This is what separates the prosperous in spirit from the weary in soul. The wealthy decree from their throne before checking the battlefield. The weary examine the battle before deciding whether to speak. But hear me, the outcome on the field doesn't matter once your word has already settled the victory. So rise and rule, not through struggle but through speech. Not through effort but through utterance. Let your first breath be prophecy, your first word dominion, your first act decree. Because creation responds not to reaction but to command. You are not here to report your day, you are here to create it. And creation begins not with complaint, but command. Not with emotion, but divine articulation. So write it now, your morning decree, your wealth-shaped word spoken into time before time can resist it. Speak it aloud until the walls vibrate and the air shifts and heaven recognizes the voice of a royal one who knows that decree is not ambition, it's alignment. Declare it now. This day unfolds in my favor. I receive divine direction. Every meeting is divinely aligned. Every resource that belongs to me finds me now. My words reveal the unseen. My voice opens gates. I encounter overflow before the sun sets. Speak it as law, because it is law. Morning is not for coffee or clocks or chatter. It is the womb of the day, and whoever speaks first governs. Speak in fear, and fear will reign. Speak in doubt, and delay will rule. But speak in authority, with the certainty of, I am, and provision must follow, doors must open, and every step will echo your decree. Command before calculation, speak before action, and the day becomes your servant, not your struggle. Say it, and so shall it be. Every soul that walks by faith faces that moment when the winds roar, the bills pile up, the doors seem closed, and the mind whispers, what if it's not working? Many retreat, retract, and undo their own declarations through hesitation and self-doubt. Fear disguises itself as logic, dresses as caution, and pretends to be wisdom. But do not be deceived. Fear is not guidance. It's sabotage. It unravels your decrees, erases your faith, and fills the space meant for wealth with shadows that carry no form. Fear is emptiness. Your abundance cannot reside where it's not welcomed. The greatest contradiction to your spoken word isn't other people or economy or history. It's the fear you entertain afterward. Each doubt after a decree is a crack in the temple wall, a leak in the pipe, a weakening of divine structure. So I tell you in sacred urgency, cancel nothing through fear. Let no midnight worry reverse your morning prophecy. Let no bill silence your spoken blessing. Delay is not denial. Silence is not absence. What looks like stillness is the unseen rearranging itself in your favor. Law never sleeps, and the word never fails. Your provision is on time even when you can't see the clock. You do not reason with fear. You expel it. You do not debate with thieves. You cast them out. Rebuke it until it flees before the sound of your faith. Say it boldly. I cast fear upon the Christ within and walk free. I do not fear lack, for I serve the God of plenty. I do not fear delay, for divine timing is flawless. I do not fear appearances, for the unseen law is active beneath them. Let this be your sacred practice. When fear speaks, answer back. If it whispers, what if it never comes? Declare, it already exists in spirit, and form will follow. If it murmurs, you're behind. Affirm, I am aligned with divine timing, and supply outruns me. If it says, there's not enough, reply, my source is infinite, and I overflow. Never treat fear with politeness. It's not a visitor, it's an intruder. Serve it eviction papers through your word. Speak when you feel faith and when you don't. Speak when the storm rises and when silence lingers. Speak even while trembling, because divine law doesn't respond to emotion. It responds to truth, and truth must be louder than fear. So vow it now, cancel nothing with fear, doubt nothing you've decreed, rehearse no contradiction. Let fear find no home in your inner sanctuary. Your mouth is your altar, your word the fire, and your faith the fragrance that summons abundance like bees to honey. You are not designed to tremble. You are designed to govern. You are not sent to fear. You are sent to form. You are not here to echo lack. You are here to establish prosperity. When fear pulls you toward old patterns of panic, remember, you already declared it into law, and law bows to no fear. Speak this now, I cancel nothing with fear. I water every word with faith. I live by divine principle, not emotion. Everything I've spoken moves toward me now under grace and perfect order. There comes a sacred evolution within the soul when a person stops speaking from emotional tremors and starts speaking from divine law. When they stop waiting for feelings to align before proclaiming truth. The law does not respond to moods but to command. Power is not born from emotion but from certainty. God said, "Let there be light." Not because he saw it but because he was it. And you, made in that same image, must speak not what you feel, but what you know to be eternally true. Feelings are weather, but law is the sky beneath it. Emotion is a passing wave, but law is the ocean floor. If you attempt to build your wealth on emotional tides, every delay and rejection will shake you. But if you anchor your voice in divine law, thou shalt decree a thing and it shall be established. Then no feeling can undo it. The law doesn't ask how you feel, it asks what you've spoken. If your word aligns with divine order, heaven and earth rearrange themselves to reflect it. The greatest words I ever uttered were not the ones I felt. They were the ones I chose in defiance of fear. The words I spoke when empty but claimed overflow, when late but affirmed perfect timing, when ignored but declared remembrance. Those words created miracles because they stood on law, not emotion. You must now cross from emotional speech to faith-filled command. Your mouth is not a thermometer, it's a thermostat. You are not here to describe conditions but to decree creation. Speak not from reaction but from authority. When storms arise, do not narrate the chaos, speak peace to the sea. When lack appears, do not mourn, declare fullness. When weakness tries to claim you, say, I am strong, and the law will respond, not because you shouted, but because you spoke from spiritual jurisdiction. Say it now, I no longer speak from feeling. I speak from divine certainty. I no longer wait to feel ready. I command. I no longer describe appearances. I establish outcomes. My word stands firm and heaven confirms it. This is who you are. This is your dominion. This is your prosperity. It begins not in emotion, but in the spoken decree that refuses to bow to appearance. There was once a woman, ordinary to the world but magnificent in spirit. Her rent was due in 10 days. No job promise, no client, no visible way out. Everything in the natural told her to panic. Yet instead of speaking defeat, she lifted her voice to divine law and declared, "This is God's rent, not mine. Divine substance pays every need in perfect ways. I cannot be cut off from my source." Each day she repeated it, unshaken by the clock or silence. On the 10th day, a forgotten check arrived, unexpected, precise, complete. She didn't work harder, she spoke stronger. Her mouth led her miracle. It wasn't coincidence, it was law fulfilling itself. Heaven recognized authority and obeyed. The issue was never the amount. It was the illusion of lack. She spoke only what she wished multiplied. She treated her bill as God's affair, and heaven always pays its own. Supply is not a paycheck, it's a presence, and it responds not to worry but to word. So what will you do? Will you keep speaking about the bill, or will you speak to it? Will you let it dictate your tone, or will you command it to align? Say what she said. This is God's bill, already paid. The law is impartial. It honors principles, not personalities. The treasury opens through boldness, not begging. Say, "I am rich," even when the evidence says otherwise. Speak until the mountain moves, until overflow arrives, until you realize it was never about the money. It was always about the mouth. Bills are not curses but opportunities to reign. They are not punishment but proof of expansion. Each invoice is a stage for the word to perform. Speak to it with authority. Bill, you are already fulfilled. My supply meets you in perfect time. I live in ease, in order, in abundance. For money does not move through panic, it moves through proclamation. The universe multiplies what your words confirm. So speak wealth, speak overflow, speak completion, because every bill bears a divine signature. It was never yours, it is God's, and He is never short, never late, never lacking. Speak like the heir you are. Speak like the ruler of supply. Speak, and watch the paper bow before your word. Each transaction is an altar where divine words reveal their strength. Faith-infused speech is not casual talk. It's a declaration that alters spiritual realities. Within every believer rests authority granted by heaven itself. God's creative essence resides in you, so when you speak with belief, the invisible begins to take shape. The realm of the Spirit responds to language saturated with conviction, and what you confess with unwavering certainty begins to appear in your physical experience. Creation is designed to respond to confident articulation. When you affirm that abundance surrounds you, that declaration travels through unseen dimensions and returns to you multiplied. Every word plants a seed in the unseen soil of existence, and time, faith, and consistency cause it to grow into form. Wealth is not something you pursue, it's something you activate through consciousness. The flow of provision aligns with your inner certainty, not your external striving. The kingdom doesn't operate through labor. It functions through revelation. When you accept that prosperity is your divine inheritance, you stop chasing it and begin magnetizing it. God is not holding back supply, it is your awareness that determines your reception. Say aloud, "Everything I require is already mine." Do not allow temporary evidence to contradict eternal truth. The unseen realm always births the visible one. Just as no farmer digs up his seed to see if it's sprouting, you must not uproot your declaration through doubt. Trust that God's system is working beneath the surface. You are a vessel through which divine wealth expresses itself. The more open your spirit becomes, the easier the current of blessing flows. When you attempt to earn what is already granted, you resist grace. The Spirit doesn't respond to struggle but to surrender. Prosperity comes to those who understand alignment, who match their vibration with God's abundance. You were never meant to scrape and plead, you were meant to command through faith. Speak not from lack but from dominion. Declare with authority that provision answers to you, for heaven recognizes your voice when it carries faith. Every declaration made in certainty releases energy that rearranges circumstances. The moment you speak from belief, unseen forces start working to align events in your favor. Angels move according to the sound of divine truth uttered through human lips. The more consistent your words, the more powerful your manifestations. Remember, repetition creates reinforcement. If you confess poverty, you strengthen scarcity. If you speak wealth, you authorize increase. You are constantly authorizing something with your speech. Make sure your words represent heaven's abundance, not earth's limitation. Stop rehearsing shortage. Begin proclaiming overflow. Even if your current reality whispers otherwise, remember, facts bow to truth. The spirit realm is superior to matter. You are not trying to convince the world. You are confirming what God already finished. Every affirmation becomes a decree that heaven honors. Declare without hesitation, I am surrounded by divine plenty. Opportunities chase me. Money serves me as a tool for goodness. Let those words take residence in your consciousness until they feel more real than your past experiences. When your inner frequency harmonizes with faith, miracles become normal. You no longer ask for provision, you embody it. The moment you realize you are one with abundance, the chase ends, and the flow begins. The law of attraction is a spiritual principle seated by God Himself. Like attracts like, faith attracts fulfillment. What you internalize with gratitude becomes what you externalize in experience. God never intended His children to live in constant need. He designed them to reign in sufficiency. The currency of heaven is belief, not effort. Everything visible was once invisible. Your words are invisible forces constructing visible outcomes. Each syllable carries spiritual power, either to expand or to restrict. That is why Scripture says life and death are in the power of the tongue. Choose to release life. Choose to speak in alignment with divine promise. If you can hold the vision of your prosperity in your imagination, you can birth it in your reality. Faith does not deny the existence of problems, it simply refuses to give them authority. As you continue declaring abundance, you start to feel it as truth, and that feeling becomes magnetism. Your emotions are not random. They are spiritual signals summoning matching experiences. Joy attracts increase. Gratitude multiplies results. Praise amplifies flow. When you celebrate what you have, you create room for what's next. The energy of appreciation is the bridge between desire and manifestation. So, stand boldly in your role as a co-creator with God. Speak as one who knows the outcome, not one who fears the process. Each word you release in faith is a decree that heaven acknowledges. The universe itself bends to match divine authority expressed through you. You are not a beggar waiting for permission. You are a child of God exercising dominion. Command what you desire with reverence and confidence. You were never designed to chase blessings. Blessings were designed to chase you. The Spirit of God moves through your certainty, not your anxiety. When you settle into assurance, provision locates you effortlessly. Do not let fear interrupt the rhythm of your declarations. Even when the evidence seems delayed, know that divine timing is precise. What you have spoken in faith cannot remain hidden forever. So keep affirming, keep believing, keep vibrating with gratitude, because soon your reality will mirror your revelation. You will look around and see the harvest of the words you planted long ago. Every declaration, every whisper of faith, every vision of increase will have produced tangible fruit. You will walk as one who knows that speech shapes worlds, and faith commands manifestation. You will no longer speak to survive but to create, not from emptiness, but from overflow, not to convince God, but to express Him. You will realize the truth that has always been written on your spirit. That abundance is not coming, it is already here, responding to your voice.